I, Ava, wonder if our guests would be here on time.
If we had a custom wedding website.
With our ceremony details on it.
And I, Taylor, would pick Zola to have and to host our wedding website.
Ours even matched our Zola invites. The whole thing was so freaking easy.
Do you think Zola could have made planning your perfect wedding easier?
We do. I do.
We've helped 1 million couples plan their weddings with free websites, registry, and invitations. Get started for free at Zola.com.
Good day and welcome to my brand new channel, The Godless Ferret. In this channel I would like to address all the odd things the religious people get up to, the dangerous things, the misinformation they spread, the hypocrisy, because I feel that most of their hatred is directed towards minorities, and minorities needs to have a voice out there. If people do not speak up, this will never stop, and nobody deserves to be bullied. Ignore the background. I do not have a studio for this. This was basically an on-the-spur decision that I've been playing with for a couple of weeks, and here we are. Now, in this episode, I'm going to speak about the activist mommy. This woman gets her panties in a twist over absolutely everything that doesn't conform to her religion. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all Christians are like her, but she is as fundamental as what they come. Everything, and I mean everything according to her, is wrong. Now, if you want to be like that, it's fine. Where the problem comes in is when you expect everybody else to be like that. I mean, I believe this, I can't do this. I believe this, you can't do this, and this is where we have a problem. As you saw earlier in the video, she had a problem with Hallmark and the Gay Jesus video. And as I pointed out, ironically, the gay video seemed to have ticked people off more than what the Gay Jesus movie did. She says it's for the children, but the children can only watch what their parents allow them to watch. I was a very liberal parent. I allowed my kids to watch almost everything except things that's got like explicit sexual scenes, because I didn't want to be the parent that had to explain to the teachers why my child was molesting the teddy bear at school. They were too small to understand what was going on. It wasn't the right time to explain that to them. And I did not allow them to watch the movie The Passion of the Christ, because there was no way I was going to allow my children to be emotionally manipulated and feeling guilty towards this Jesus character. But other than that, they could basically just watch what they want. But I made sure they didn't get to movies I didn't want them to watch, which they didn't. And it wasn't as easy back in the day as what it is today. Today we've got Netflix, we've got Showmax, there's passwords that you can put on everything. You can age restrict what your children watch. So why go around and demand that things needs to be taken off there because you don't like it? If you don't like it, don't freaking watch it. It is as easy as that. Now, another thing this woman does, and she goes a bit further than most, is on her Facebook page, she will go and give the details out of the libraries that's doing a drag queen story hour. And this, in my opinion, is a very dangerous thing to do. You don't know who rocks up at those protests really. It could be somebody that goes trigger happy. It could be somebody that gets violent in other ways. You can't just send strange people out to protest or harass a library for things like this. It is very irresponsible to do this. And if these people arrive on the same day that the drag queen and the children are there, which is going to be worse? A man dressed as a woman reading stories to children, or an angry mob carrying on like lunatics outside? Personally, I think that it's going to be more damaging to the children to witness the angry mob. They wouldn't understand what's going on. And violence and anger usually just it has a negative effect on children. Their words. But moving on. So this is one of the things she does. Now recently she tweeted, I think it was this morning or yesterday, she tweeted about Teen Vogue promoting anal sex to children, when all Teen Vogue did was just giving out facts on what anal sex is, the pros and the cons, and how to be safe about it. And let's face it, teenagers can't have too much knowledge. Not all the teenagers are homeschooled. A lot of teenagers have a lot of freedom. You're not always there to see what they're up to. So the only thing you can do is equip your teenager with knowledge. So by protesting against this, by complaining about this, by insisting that this is not available to teenagers, she is taking away knowledge that could save the teenagers. It could save these same children that she's complaining about. It could save them from so many things. Diseases and guilt complexes and everything that goes together with things like this. And she only cares about children when it suits her agenda. She and her husband, a good couple of years back, wrote an article on how to beat up your children. Okay, maybe beat up your children is not the right word to use. How to spank your children. In the article it explained that how you should spank your children. I'll insert a piece of the article into the video. In this article she explained on how to spank your children. Then the part that really got to me was the advice she gave on how to spank a child in diapers. A child in diapers is a baby. What normal person hits a baby? And good for her, she tells people not to pick the child up and hit him on the butt, because you might hurt their hips, you might hurt the spine. Instead, take a wooden paddle and spank the child on an open thigh. Now, I've got a 3-month-old grandchild, and I can promise you, if anybody smacks that kid, I'll lose it. I will just absolutely lose it. You do not hit a baby. And just to make things even worse, she acknowledges that spanking children is mostly illegal in the United States. And then she goes around and gives them advice on how to do this without getting caught. So we've basically got her promoting an illegal activity which is seen as child abuse, because the Bible says that you have to, oh good Lord, English is not my language and I'm not getting the word for this. You should discipline the child. So in her mind, this illegal activity that is abusive towards children, and then giving out advice in how to beat the legal system, is justified because of what her Bible says. And this is not right. What if a parent screws up? She even says, if a child leaves marks, make sure the child doesn't get into contact with other people. Do not let the child welfare into your house without a warrant. Do not answer any questions without a lawyer present. So, where's the love for children when it comes to this? There is none. There's absolutely none. It's all about control with this woman. So, during my searches on things that this woman does or says, I came across a comment she made on anal sex and the diseases and complications that can come from it. Here is what she had to say. Oops, did Gigi Engel, who is not a certified sex therapist but merely a journalist, forget to mention the list of health risks that go with indulging in anal intercourse? No, she didn't. Okay, let me do Gigi's job for her. Loss of bowel control, condyloma acuminata. Besides, if I say any of these words wrong, forgive me. They are big words, especially for me. Hemorrhoids, non-specific proctitis, anal fistula, perirectal abscess, anal fissure, amoebiasis, benign polyps, viral hepatitis, gonorrhea, syphilis, anorectal trauma, shigellosis, rectal ulcers, and lymphogranuloma venereum. That sounds like something coming from a Harry Potter movie.
Lymphogranuloma venereum.
Okay, moving on. And proctal prolapse, where the colon turns inside out and exists through the rectum, often requiring surgery. Now, I love how she points out that Gigi Engel is not a certified sex therapist, but merely a journalist. Well, I don't want to lie to you, but the activist mommy isn't a sex therapist either. And this entire list here, she just went and pulled off the internet without even remotely doing some research on this. Now, I went and did some research on it. And this is what I found. The majority of these diseases you can get through normal sex. A lot of them are just because of stomach problems. Quite a few of them is because of childbirth. So, according to her own logic, and I hate using that word in the same sentence as her, because she has no logic, but according to her own logic, that she suffers from most of these things, because a lot of these things that she mentioned in that comment comes from childbirth, and this woman has 10 kids. So, and a lot of them is not even, it doesn't even have anything to do with sex. Very few of these things have to do with sex. Very few of these things are related to anal sex only. So she spreads false information, and false information is just as dangerous as anything else I can think of, because it corrupts minds. It stops people from looking for the truth. Believing a lie can just be a negative thing at the end of the day. It's never a good thing. Spreading false information is never ever a good thing. Then, of course, our activist mommy had a hernia because a school decided to pull just over 2,000 students because these students do not have vaccination records. These 55 students in the school, let me quickly check up, I can't remember the name of the school. Okay, so here's the article that she wrote on her website, theactivistmommy.com. Here she just carries on about, according to Seattle Times, student missing the measles combination shot from the vaccine records will be corralled into a designated room at their school while their families are notified. If that isn't the most Orwellian thing I've ever heard, These perfectly healthy children will be rounded up like lepers or criminals and quarantined at schools until their parents retrieve them. This is horrific. Yeah, okay. So, hitting babies isn't horrific. Getting mobs to harass drag queens in libraries isn't horrific. Drawing up a petition saying that minorities basically does not count isn't horrific. This woman she's a hypocrisy lollipop. But moving on. What she fails to mention in this entire thing is that 800 children in Washington contracted measles. And that is a thing to worry about. I'm in South Africa. We have extremely few cases of where children actually still get measles. The last child I've physically seen with measles was 22 years ago, and that's when my own daughter got it when she was 6 months old. The MMR is given at the age of 9 months. So at 6 months, she was still too young to get the vaccination. And the child almost died because of this. It was a close call. My cousin's little baby boy of 9 months actually did die of measles. So I don't know how people can say this is not serious. And South Africa we vaccinate. We've always been vaccinating. And these diseases are almost non-existent. We are living proof that these vaccinations work. I'm a bit of a hypocrite myself. I'm supposed to go for booster shots, but I just didn't get to it yet. Now, according to her, this is what happens when ignorant state legislators get involved in medical and religious issues they clearly know nothing about. Well, she probably thinks she knows everything about religious issues, although I'm not sure where in the Bible she'll find a verse that justifies not vaccinating a child. Actually, I can think of one, but I don't want to give her ideas. Not vaccinating a child, and she knows absolutely nothing about medical issues. The entire thing about vaccinations giving autism has been debunked so many times. I'm not even going to bother reading the study. It is easy to find the study online. Really, it was all about a person that wrote an article with false information. Like I said, false information. See what damage it can cause. Because of that one article, we have anti-vaxxers today. Just because of, even though it was pulled, enough people read the study. And because this person tried to place a bad light on the company that was administering the MMR vaccines at the time. Well, his entire article was debunked. He was fired. I think he can't do his line of work anymore. And it was taken out. It was not, it was completely, this is a nonsense story. Yet people still cling to it. Now apparently the removal is a conspiracy theory. So this woman is anti-vax as well, which I can't get my head wrapped around it. Seeing that I almost lost a child because of this, not through my own fault, but still, I don't understand how people can place their children in danger like this. Here's a perfect example of her freaking out over transgender bathrooms at a library. It's a public library. According to her, the library is being run by state money, therefore she has a say, or they, the Christian types that follows her and agrees with her, has a say in who gets to do what at this library. My logic tells me that the parents that take their children to these libraries, that are okay with these toilets, who maybe have transgender children themselves, maybe are transgender parents, that takes the children to the story hours, they are also taxpayers. They also get to have a say. It's not just the Christians that gives tax money to this. So that argument to me just absolutely means nothing. This entire, we are the larger group, therefore you must just sit in the corner and be quiet. It just doesn't work for me. It's nonsense. It is complete and utter nonsense. But like I said, this is an example of where she gives out the person's name, who to contact, there, with the phone number. And this toilet wasn't bothering anyone until she and probably one of her cronies discovered it and decided this isn't right. I wasn't even aware of a place called Rochester Hills until I read this article. So really, she's vindictive, she's mean, she's a bully. Like I said in the beginning, there's nothing else. There's no other word I can find to sum her up better. And of course, if you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when it comes to vaccination, gay people, and transgender bathrooms, you will, of course, go gaga bananas over freaking abortion. Now, this article really, well, it's not an article, it is something she shared from a person whose name I'll just take out later. It's a thing that she shared, and listen to the reasoning behind this of why abortion is wrong. It's not wrong because it hurts women. It's abortion mills. I don't even want to know what she means by that. It's not wrong because of that. It's not wrong because abortionists do not have hospital privileges. Is that even correct? I'll have to go and look that up. Abortion is not wrong because the child in the womb feels pain at a certain age of development. It's not wrong because every child is a wanted child. That's just nonsense. How many children are stuck in orphanages that nobody wants? Abortion is not wrong because of lack of parental consent or lack of certain amount of time to consider the decision to murder a baby. Abortion is not murder. Abortion is the termination of a pregnancy. It ends the pregnancy by letting the fetus eject from the body. It's a fetus. It's not a baby. It's not wrong because of lack of seeing an ultrasound, not properly disposing of a baby's remains. This woman is creepy. She is truly, and I mean, I know creepy. She's really not, she creeps me out. Because a baby has a heartbeat, sexist to unbought and unwanted gender. Do people do that? Yeah, I think in China at one point they used to. A baby is handicapped or it has Down syndrome. It's not wrong because adoption is a loving option. Yes, it's an option, but with so many children in orphanages, let's face it, children are a product that people don't really want anymore. They'll either have their own or maybe get a surrogate, but people obviously don't adopt as what we would like to see people adopt. Not in large amounts. This is, according to this, This is why abortion is wrong. Abortion is wrong because it violates God's holy commandment, thou shalt not murder. Really. So, it's not wrong because of everything, because according to this, it could hurt the baby or the fetus, or it could be harmful to the mother, or with a lot of things that she mentioned, just she seems shady and illegal, and I don't even think true. So it's not wrong because of that, but it's wrong because of God. And now she wants to come up with the commandment, thou shalt not murder. But in the Bible, God very clearly gives a recipe to a priest that a woman that is suspected of adultery has to drink, and if she aborts or has a miscarriage, then it means she was unfaithful to her husband. This is the same God that killed everyone but 8 people in a supposed global flood, or so the story goes. Personally, I don't believe it's true. This is the same God whose word has a verse in that says, blessed are those who dashes the babies against the rocks. Or there's one place where there's a curse, where parents will eat their children. I mean, they will eat their children. It is disgusting. Okay? But this is why abortion is wrong, because the Bible says, thou shalt not murder. Abortion is wrong because it desecrates the image bearers of Christ. So it makes Christian look bad. Not too sure what she means by that. Abortion is wrong because it violates our founding documents as Americans. Nonsense. I don't even think the founding documents of America even mentions abortion. America was not found on any religion. As far as what I understand it, America was found on secular grounds, on secular values, because it clearly stated that one religion will not be set above another. So, no. Abortion is wrong because it betrays the sacred trust of civil government. Don't know if anybody else can figure out what she means by that. Please leave it in the comments below. I really don't know. So, according to her, it's not because of the odd illegal and gruesome activities mentioned and harmful activities mentioned above, but because it's all against the Bible and it makes Christians look bad. You can't look bad as a Christian. I mean, what would Jesus say? Now, I could literally go on all day about this woman because she has done and said so much dumb. It's not even funny. But this one, I like this one. This apparently is a Facebook post that went viral, according to her, glorifying 2 things that leftists seems to adore most: gender confusion and abortion. Now, the video, originally shared on social media by a drag queen named Blair Black, features the performers simulating the gruesome murder of a preborn baby, yes, we call this a fetus, by its own mother, all white. An audience stands by and cheers. For those who do not want to watch the video for themselves, which is certainly understandable, we will synopsize the gruesome content. Now, I'm not sure if I could play this video, but you can look for it on Facebook, I suppose. And says the footage begins with Beck dressed in a woman's white jumper and a fake pregnancy bodysuit, giving him the appearance of having a baby bump. And the song Cannibal by Keisha is sung in the background. And Beck reaches for a knife and begins stabbing into his fake belly. And blah blah blah, Beck shows off fake blood from inside the belly. Beck then proceeds to pull what appears to be a sponge soaked with fake blood and squeezed over himself while rubbing it all over his clothes in a suggestive manner. Next, he fishes a plastic baby doll out of his fake belly, licks it, and rubs it on his body. Okay, that is kind of disturbing, but it's a doll. And it's a doll. Beck finishes the song by whipping the doll around the air before tossing it into the audience, which erupts into applause. Oh wait, I missed this part. Beck continues on rubbing himself and drinking more of the fake blood until the vile climax of the song comes and he rips the baby doll's head off and, you guessed it, rubs it on himself some more. The moment he does this, his audience begins shrieking with glee and applauding him ferociously. Then, when posting the original video, Beck defended his work by saying no babies were harmed in this video. The baby is made of plastic. I'm wearing a pregnant belly costume I got online. The blood is fake and the organs are fake as well. Beck also argued that his performance had nothing whatsoever to do with abortion and that the drag show in which he was performing was a cannibal-themed show. Commenters also mocked the disgusted backlash of video by jokingly assuring pro-life commenters that real abortions do not include stabbing a woman in the belly and ripping a baby apart. Perhaps pregnant women don't stab themselves in the bellies to abort their unborn babies, but babies are certainly dismembered. Most abortion does not work that way most of the time. This woman is infuriating. And then it carries on. Apparently the theme of this entire thing was cannibal, and she wants to get all eek about it. And Elizabeth Johnson, I just want to ask you one thing. When you go to church and you take your Holy Communion and the pastor or whatever you call him looks at you and says, "Eat, for this is my body. Drink, for this is my blood." What does it symbolize? Are you happy pretending to eat the flesh of your Jesus and drinking his blood? And what other is that? What is it but cannibalism? You don't even realize that this very religion you belong to is a death cult. It's a blood cult. It is a disgusting thing. And just because it's wrapped in nice words like thee, thy, thou, I smell the blood of a dead Jesus Jew. Just because it is wrapped up in different words, it doesn't make it less disgusting. What's even worse is this man put on a show. You believe the show you put on every single day. It's true. So, you really have no place to talk. Now, on that note, I will end this video off, and I'll be sure to be back maybe once a week because I'm quite busy, and see who else fits into this woman's category, although she's one of the worst I've seen in a very long time. Please hit like, share, and subscribe, because the only way we can oppose what these people are doing is by having a voice. Minorities have a voice, they need a voice. And the only way we can get this out is by being the voice of these people. And the more people I can get to support me on this, the louder our voice will be. And this is what I'm aiming for. She has her activists, and we can just show her that, and people like her, that we will not be silent. We have a right to speak, and we will. Because minorities matter. Minorities are also people. And they have just as much rights as what she does. And she has no right to insist that the entire world just bows down to her demands. So as I said, hit like, share, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and maybe one day when I get my Instagram working. That might actually happen at some point. Thank you for watching the video. Have a great day further, and I'll see you again.